And I think there's a snobbishness with reading books. They are a bit outdated. They're a little bit like playing the spoons and tap dancing and the theatre. They were good once, but things have moved on.
The head's not quite on the right place. That's his little issue that he's got to work on for the moment.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Look, I'm all for innovation, and I advocated putting a scrum half in the line out. It sounds great, but it's bollocks idea, really.
Hello, welcome to Under the Sticks, a podcast brought to you by Pro 14 Rugby, where we, as always, served up half-baked opinions, served up as real rugby analysis. Sometimes authoritative, sometimes not so much. My name's Andy McGeady. Sean, Holley, how are you?
Good, thanks. I'm half-baked in the face. Getting a lot of stick for it as well. I've got this sort of weird tan from playing golf, as you know, and it's blowing a gale and raining in Wales. So everybody's like, sort of harping back to the Ospreys days. Am I wearing Gavin Henson's tan? Have you borrowed James Hook's sunbed? So apart from all those ha-ha gags, I'm absolutely splendid.
Paul Williams, how are you?
I'm very well, rejuvenated after a little meet-up with Holley.
Oh, yes, we have to talk about that tonight.
Friday night. That was a good laugh. I left. I could see Holley taking it up the gears, and it was my daughter's birthday.
Did you feel naughty? It was naughty. We were sort of outside, but inside.
Yeah.
We were outside.
Jealous.
And I felt really old, because this part of Cardiff that we drank in, the average age is about 19.4.
Yeah, well, Jamie Roberts was there, so it was all right.
Jamie was there. We had a quick chat with Jamie Roberts. That was really nice.
Did he know you were chatting to him, or Paul, was it one of those chats where you're just
on a long lens?
Look, if I'm honest, Jamie Roberts thought he was speaking to Adamant or the Greatest Showman, right? He had this red cloak on.
We'll pause that.
I was wearing a red Sergeant Pepper's jacket from that album cover. So, and even now, bits of Cardiff aren't ready for coats like that.
I think that's fair. We're going out live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Hello to some of the regulars already in. Harley Worthy, how are you? Ali Hughes, Michael Jenkins, as always, from Pembrokeshire, West Wales, UK. We will talk a little bit about Paul and Sean's night out. We'll talk Rainbow Cup results from the Northern Hemisphere and South Africa. We will run through a number of those games. There was a lot of talking points. Talking points. Some good and some not so good. There was some bad behaviour last weekend. We will discuss. Holly's Heroes is back. We'll run through Sean's team of the weekend. We'll have a little look ahead to summary things, because we were doing some homework today, and all the summer tours got announced. Now, there's a couple that aren't there, and we'll talk about that and why and what might happen. But we'll run through what we might actually expect this summer, because you know what? It's great. And then we'll touch on some signings and stuff at the end and throw in whatever you were going to get to Ali Craig. How are you? John Brooks. Hello, Gerard Fitzpatrick, Kieran O'Callaghan from Tralee, Southwest Ireland. Come play links golf here in a draft. I'd say it is a draft at the moment.
Kieran, can I come over and play with you, please? My name's Golf Company.
No, you're not allowed.
Oh, Kieran, look at this!
Before Paul gets his column in, I'm getting great days golfing. Kieran,
Right,
I can happily come over to Tralee.
You've got 3 minutes to discuss your actual real in-person night out in Cardiff as real humans after lockdown.
I felt I was with Hugh Jackman in Cardiff. This is the greatest show. Oh God! I thought a giant elephant was going to come through. Look at this.
No.
Cross between Hugh Jackman and Adamant. Look at it.
All that is a jacket and a scarf, as far as I'm concerned.
For those who are not watching this, let me describe. It's scarlet, not even red. This is a scarlet jacket. It is a very, very large lapel. There is no shirt collar. It's a black t-shirt underneath with a loosely tied silk black scarf with white repeated pattern.
That jacket is a replica of the Sergeant Pepper from the cover of that. So I bought that a couple of years ago.
This is
And
That's
in
you know,
going
South
out on the
Wales.
Twitter account. It
as
is.
This is
someone
in
once
South
said to
Wales.
me, right? I know, you imagine me wearing that to go at a rugby club. It's amazing I'm still alive. But somebody said to me once, it's better than one person to absolutely love what you're wearing and everyone else hate it rather than no one even care.
So says the man who works in marketing, ladies and
Correct.
gentlemen. That is true. I listen. We're honestly so jealous when you announced straight after the show last week that, by the way, we're meeting up for pints.
I know.
Oh,
It was so nice as well. It was really
Do you
nice
know
to
what,
see
Andy?
him.
Do you know what, Andy? It wasn't pints. It was pint because you realise we haven't had a drink for so long, and after one pint, you felt a little bit drunk or bloated
Yes.
because you're not used to the volume. So it descended into gin and tonics, and then
That's it.
there was even whiskey involved.
I had a few whiskies and I could see it was going to bad places. And I had my
Yeah.
daughter's birthday the next day. So I was like, listen, I'm going to have to go now. Or I'm going to be in trouble.
It is torture, mate, because you get to that. You're used to having a couple of beers and then having a good crack, and then you may go on to a slightly later bit of music, whatever. But you got to that point at 10 o'clock, Andy, and they shut the bars.
Yeah, and you're outdoor, freezing.
Torture. So not only did I sit next to that adamant / Hugh Jackman
I don't like the way you
with the
say
cravat, that I couldn't go
Yeah,
all the way with
this
the
is
drinking that was needed.
this is my I'm really sorry for you face, Sean.
That's the best he can muster.
It pretty much. But no, listen, it's good. Things are opening up here a little bit today. We'll open up a little bit more next week. Not quite as much as that, but it's good. So yeah, it's good. It's good to hear good news. Good news.
Absolutely.
So Rainbow Cup. We have a lot to talk about this weekend, as we said in the top of the show, good and bad. I think we'll start with Friday night, okay? Because early evening, which I like. Zebra 20, and it was 20 all with 2 minutes to go. We probably have some highlights we can show you in the background here while we're chatting. But Benetton stole it 25-20. It is one of the all-time great in its young life, one of the all-time great captain's challenges that we will see.
It was fantastic.
It's phenomenal. But yeah, it was good. Do you know what? The pitch looked great in this game. I know that mightn't sound like much, but it really looked like a nice track.
Do you know, I know Sean will have more detail, but this try I loved because it's like proper old-fashioned handling. Watch this now. So there's no drag backs. It's all just womp, 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 and straight into the corner. So beautiful. It's like a try from the 80s.
You know what, though, Paul? If you were watching the Crusaders do that, everybody on social media would be blowing up.
Oh, yeah.
Right? This is the sort of rugby that we see in the Pro 14 and now in the Rainbow Cup. 44 tries in 8 games.
Yeah.
And, these two teams, all right, Italy are the Pool Six Nations again. All right, Benetton didn't win a game in the regular season, drew one. But you know what? They've won 2 in the Rainbow Cup. They've picked up towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
Zebra picked up. Michael Bradley was Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
I think we've got to look at the positives.
This was a big error here, wasn't it?
This is it, Paul. Talk us through.
Yeah, so this was given. Is this the actual decision when they go back, or was it the one before? Oh, yeah, this is it.
This is the next one.
Oh, yeah, it was the one
Captain's challenge
before.
was
So
the previous
it
one.
went for a captain's challenge for what they thought was a double movement, Zebra, but it was a double movement. But then they'd also collapsed them all. So instead of it just being a try, it was upgraded to a penalty try. So with right, I watched it about 10 times, and then of course the free conversion and a yellow card. So captain's challenges aren't all positives.
It was really interesting watching that because, firstly, it didn't help this audience here in this house because I don't speak Italian, and the officials were conversing in Italian as they should do because they can get their ideas across. So you're trying to work out what are they looking at, and they were showing a lot of replays because there was a lot going on. Like who did the person tackle? Did they still have the ball? And it was, and then when they actually went back to the decision, I was like, that's fantastic.
Do you know what's quite interesting though? Because they're dispensing with the captain's challenge for the Trans-Tasman stuff I read today, so that's going. But I quite like it because it's making the game, especially the finishing of tries, like super clean. So you can't mess around. You can't have little accidental offsides. I really like it. I think it's taking the level of play up.
We saw a couple of failed ones this week. Actually, there was Well, here's the winning try now.
Look at this for a try. Look at the clock, right? You know, this is it. If Zebra get the ball, this is it, right? So you can't kick it away. And lovely hand again. He realizes he has to keep in field. Hold your depth to get an offload. Put it in two hands. I'd be a lot happier if he put it in two hands.
No.
But look how they come to the short side. Intelligent stuff. And Halafifi, well, he was outstanding.
He had a hell of a good game. He's a class carrier, isn't he, that boy?
Yeah,
it was a good game. I enjoyed. Well, I watched it back Saturday morning, feeling a little bit queasy.
Boys,
but that brought me round.
You know, when that happens, that's happened to me on both sides of the scoreboard. It's that when that happens, there's a big night ahead. Telling me
yeah.
Either way.
Either way. That was a good game. BC played well as well.
He did.
He's class, that boy.
So that's a good win for Benetton at Zebra. I see. Speaking of failed challenges, Ger Fitzpatrick coming in, the Luke McGrath failed challenge. There were a couple in the Leinster Connacht game, and they got them in early. This game, both of them failed. It was just really interesting to watch because you have to be specific, but also the evidence has to be clear and compelling for the officials to undo their own decision. And the Connacht one, especially when you saw the Leinster player on the line, it dotted down short, and it definitely was short, but then the referee, the best view of the house, which was not on any camera, and he'd already given it, said, I saw it get to the line. Yeah. So nothing can overturn that. You're looking at them going, you're all learning this. The officials are learning. The captains are learning too as to what is a good challenge and what isn't. There was one in this Super Rugby final as well. Super Rugby Aotearoa. Weird one in the first half, but the commentators went a bit mad.
I think it could become a bit of a skill, can it? You know, do you hold your nerve?
Yeah.
You know, lots can happen in, as we all know, in last 20 minutes of games, last 5 minutes of games. You know, the Connacht one in round one is the classic, isn't it? That is the absolute classic. But you know, you don't want to get over emotional in the first half. There's a long way to go. You know, there could be a massive decision in that second half that you need your challenge for.
To me, it's a last 10-minute thing. Like, keep that if you're in trouble. You know, to me, it's like it's the Hail Mary of rugby, and you know, you
could be, man.
That in your pocket.
It could be though. Like if you're 6 points ahead, it's in a kickable position.
Yeah, true.
Right. That's halfway through the second half, you take yourself 2 scores clear. You know, or to go into the lead. You know, early in the second half, which there's a mindset change. You've got a strong bench. There's loads to it that I think people don't realize it, and some of the captains are not realizing as well.
Aye.
No, could be there was a lot going on in the first 20 minutes or so of that game in Galway. We'll dance to it real fast now. We're not going to show you highlights. We'll be here all night. I mean, Connacht 16 points up real fast. Everyone's going, that's interesting. Yeah. And then Leinster sort of say, okay, we'll make it lots more interesting. And they had 5 tries by half time. It was stunning watching that back.
Well, what was weird, they were behind after 16. No, I can't remember how many minutes it was. After 18 minutes, they were 16 points down. Then after 23 minutes, they were up.
It was extraordinary.
That's like 6 minutes that they'd swung it from a massive defeat. And it was almost like the bookies had given them the spread bet literally in the beginning. Which, you know, when you see the spread and you think, oh yeah, 16 points is probably about right. But they literally did give it to them and then still won by 50 or put 50 on them. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, they're amazing, Leinster, when they get on that's a good bounce back from them, isn't it? You know, from Europe, from Munster, big defeat. So you look at that and you think, ooh, got to go to Galway. You go 16-0 down. Yeah, they showed champion quality, didn't they?
Yeah, there's some good scores on both sides of things. There was a monstrous maul drive from about, I'm going to say, 17, 18 meters out. Absolute monster of a maul. And then you get a beautiful, the Kelleher try. I mean, Hugo Keenan scored a hat-trick. Yeah. That does him no harm on getting on any standby list for South Africa. But Kelleher's try out wide after the cross kick was just lovely stuff.
Yeah. Honourable mention to Dave Carney.
Yeah,
Dave Carney's had a great season.
Yeah, he has.
Another good game. He had an unfortunate one where he dropped it over the line, didn't he? But you know, again, I like Dave Kahn. He's a good, honest player.
Yeah. Do you know also another honourable mention for Papali'i? Because we gave him a bit of stick in his first 2 games.
No,
when
you
did. About 9 when he had about 9 red cards in 4 minutes. I'd say he's like a different player now. He's adjusted. He came on, I think, after 29 minutes, top carrier again. And the goal line restart, talk about being made for somebody coming in from league. God, Leinster kicked it to him once on a goal. Well, it was like watching a tsunami coming at you. It was really bad. Scott Penny tried his best to drop him, and he did take him down. But you could see when Scott Penny got up, he was like, "Oh my Christ, what was that?" It was, it was a good game, and fair play to Papali'i. He's really turning it around.
Well, while we're in Ireland, we'll go Munster Ulster. That turned out to be not so close.
No.
Munster 38, Ulster 10.
The real Munster are showing up, aren't they? You know, you remember all our conversations that we had back in towards the end of last season. Couldn't get over the line against Leinster. Same again. Now we're starting to see they seem to have a bit of confidence. They've got a bit of know-how. Yes, Ulster have imploded, and Helen Hart has asked, you know, can you please tell us from a long-suffering Ulster fan? I think this happens, guys. This happens when you go all in. You go all in 2 tournaments, and you get so close, and then your balloon gets popped. It's very hard to pick them up, you know. And then you go to Munster, and it's like, I think Ulster go to Leinster next week, don't they?
Hold on, wait till I've got my they go to that's going to be fun. They go to.
You know what my spread betting will be this week?
Oh yeah,
Williams.
we know what that is. Yeah, I tell you, Addison didn't help. Will Addison, because he was playing. I know he's coming back from injury, but he was playing on the very edge from the minute that the whistle went, and you know, it sort of it caught him out in the end. But I feel a bit sorry for us. Like you said, they've played so well all season in certain competitions. I know.
I don't.
Why not? Why don't you?
You got a massive budget. You know,
I suppose.
You're the only team in Northern Ireland. Sorry, no, I don't feel sorry for you at all.
Oof.
And I'm now going to get a wrath.
Tell you what, I wasn't
Ireland
out with Sean on a weekend. I don't know him at all.
Northern Ireland plus another couple of counties, my friend. Let's get our political boundaries.
Sorry. Apologies. I've made that mistake in the past.
But yeah, Will Addison, we don't know the result of the disciplinary proceedings yet, but he was on
the edge. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was just it's interesting when you see when you hear the little murmurs of the commentary when they sort of see and they're going, oh.
Yeah. And he did it a couple of times. You know, he was spiced up from the beginning.
So speaking of let's roll Glasgow Edinburgh. Let's roll.
Wow. What a game.
Right, strap yourselves in. If your weekend went by, if your Friday night went by without watching this live or without watching it back at some point over the weekend, there was a lot that went on. Here. I mean, it was firstly good tight game. 2 very committed teams. A couple of nice tries. There's a beautiful line here from
that's gorgeous.
From Forks coming on this one. But they weren't the big talking points from the first half. It's fair to say.
I described it as champagne rugby mixed with Jägermeister shots because it had everything. I mean, I know we shouldn't be rewarding or seem to be sort of encouraging violence and niggle on the field, but in games like this, it was fantastic. And I know there were stacks of cards, but if you want to pay money to watch these sides when we can again, this is what you want to be seeing.
Do you know as well? If super producer Adam can turn this out, this is the best crowd noise I've ever heard at a rugby match. It is. It provides.
Yeah, and they've got a good bit of jeer in as well.
It's like Scotstone's full.
Yeah. My favourite try there was Stuart McAnally's when he sniped around the side. It's a really clever bit of play. I think that might be net.
It was really interesting because they scored because Dave Cherry scored a try which was exactly the same on the other side, and you also see the Glasgow scrum half doing not very much
Yeah.
Sorry,
Definitely
the
probably
Lions
been-
squad scrum half.
Lions squad scrum half,
Yeah.
Ali Price, doing not very much in defence, and possibly with a hand round him by someone, because that's what I'd do.
I mean, Sean will know more, but you seem to see the scrum half now biting into the maul
Don't
a lot
start me,
because
Paul.
they're worrying about that being driven over, whereas they need to stay out, don't they, as to be the left man?
Yeah, I'm old school. Look at Ali Price in there. What is your scrum half doing in the middle of that maul, right? Except where it comes from is they have him defending on the short side, rugby league style, and but no way. Your job, if you're there, is to. I understand if the maul is going over the line and it's a last resort, get in there. But for McAnally's try, he's in there way too early and been tied in by his own man. I mean, there's absolutely no need.
His own man is wrapped him.
Yeah,
it was really strange. Really good play for Stuart McAnally, though. Fair play, just to look up, see there's no one there, and it's not rugby by numbers. It was,
and he's been out, so it's good to see him get something.
Yeah, he looked really sharp, actually.
Friend of the show, Rambo.
Friend of the pod.
But
it was a hell of a game. Fair play.
So that'll come up in a second. There were two other talking points in the first half, which are those two wee red dots above the teams, because there were two captain's challenges in the first half, and both of them resulted in a red card for an opponent.
This is the try now.
Here it is. Here's McAnally comes.
He just pinches in.
There's Ali Price now. Look, Ali, he bites in.
Point? Yeah, it's a weird thing to do, isn't it?
It's just really odd, especially as said, they'd almost a mirror image on the far side as well. But we did have two reds in that. So you had Mark Bennett gone for Edinburgh and Ollie Kebbell for Glasgow, and both, when you looked at them back, good challenges. Very clear, and it just disappointing. Both sides back up to the full complement after 20 minutes because we're still in that trial. That's one of those which probably doesn't seem as controversial, because it is controversial still. It is a trial. People have strong feelings about it. When both teams have a red, probably evens itself out.
Yeah.
But it's going to be really interesting to see how this trial continues.
But, the interesting thing would be how, if any team loses when they shouldn't. That's the key stat, isn't it? Which we have nearly seen once in the South African game, where it was pretty tight considering they had two off. So that's the key thing, isn't it? If you win a game and you've had, say, one red and a yellow, you shouldn't really be winning that game.
That's our interpretation based on how we've always felt red cards should.
That's what happened with the Blues, though.
But they
had a red and a yellow, right? They went down to 13. Then they got their red back and the yellow back, and they won it in the last 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk that game now. Like Cardiff Blues 17, Dragons 16, very, very, very close. Some decent rugby. We're not going to show anything from this, but the red card incident was like, Owen Lane, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was reckless and silly, really, because it didn't have any impact on the game, whether he hit him either side off the ball or not, But to go back very quickly to the mitigation of whether, they should have won or shouldn't. There was long periods where the Dragons had a chance to score when they were down to 30 men and didn't take them. So that's on their part, isn't it? And the Blues then weathered the storm and came back and won it. So, that's that. But it was a silly red card. When it happened live, I was like, ooh, because they didn't go back and look at it. The referee was Adamson, I think, for a while. And I think the game in its entirety finished at 3 o'clock. It kicked off at 1 o'clock.
Wow.
That is, John, that's something we've noticed, actually. The captain sometimes looking for the captain's challenge moment. It can take some time. Here's the red now, which Adam's running back. And it's unnecessary.
Ooh. I think what's really stupid is, in a world of very dicey red cards at the moment, that sometimes you can't not give away. That's when you really don't need to do.
No.
I mean, you can see, I can kind of see what he was doing, but like, it's when he gets that big shoulder into a jaw, there's only one decision coming.
He's just giving him a classic late bang, isn't he? But caught him in the face.
He would have had the same outcome and he tackled him around the legs. So he's not trying to stop his offload. Look at his eyes.
Yeah.
He's just trying to snot him, and he does. So if you want to just take him out of the game, take him on the legs. You can't, you know.
Yeah.
And he was snotted, to use a technical term introduced to the pod.
Snotted, that's a technical term.
Snotted, we'll have that.
Let's go to we'll stay in Wales. Scarlets 22, Osprey 6. We're now minus a coach, or who would have been a director of rugby, who announced, I think, in the dressing room after the game, Glenn Delaney's out of there. Any backstory on this one, Sean?
Well, I don't have any backstory other than my own sort of experience or knowledge in this area, that once you get moved from head coach to director of rugby, you know, when really you've never been other than a coach. I mean, he was director of rugby at Nottingham, I think, but the alarm bells were going. Dwayne Peel's coming in, the prodigal son. Results are shocking. You know, they're conceding 50 points at home twice. Or whatever it was, 145 in 3 games. It was all stacking up, you know. So clearly, it wouldn't have been after that result unless a big blow up would have happened, but a statement had been prepared. So clearly the decision had been made some time ago. It was just when they were going to release it. And it seemed a bit strange. He was really chipper. He's a lovely bloke, Glenn Delaney. We've had him on, Glenn, haven't we? He's a lovely, lovely bloke. And he was really chipper after the game, and he didn't think anything of it. And then, you know, I had a message about 10:30 in the night saying, Glenn Delaney. And I was like, oh no, what's happened? Is he all right? And so it was a real strange one. But I am not, in the cold like the day, boys, I'm not surprised. And I think there might be another one. I don't know who. Room made for somebody that Dwayne Peel wants to bring in. Because, of course, if he's going to be the head coach, he's going to want some of his team, his own team.
There's room for new Williams. That's what I'm hearing. There's room for a Williams in the coaching team.
And I've got the red jacket.
Yeah, that's it.
That puts me slightly ahead.
It was very wet. I didn't watch this game. It was very wet
all day. It was wet. So after you know, going to the Greatest Showman on the Friday night, I was due to. I got up really early on the Saturday morning to play golf, so I'm heading back, and the golf's off because it's horrendous. It's Hurricane Williams in Wales, and then I'm thinking, oh, crikey, I've got this game tonight. You know, that's going to be a showcase now, isn't it? And it was all day torrential. So, you know, credit the players for putting something together. And what happens is, boys, you know, people go, oh, what a rubbish game. There's loads of kicking. Well, of course there's loads of kicking. It's hammering down with rain. It's blowing a gale, you know. And I thought some of the kicking was really good. It was excellent. But the Ospreys didn't turn up in that respect. And at it, they were, you know, Jonathan Davis was good. He had 2 incidents in the first half.
Jake Ball played well. My God.
Jake Ball was up for it. Lewis Rawlins was up for it. And Jack Morgan, who's gone to the Ospreys next season, played at 7 and was excellent again. So, you know, I thought, all right, they've turned this around. And all of a sudden, then the Glenn Delaney thing came. But, you know, it was a good win for the Scarlets.
Yeah.
Now we go to South Africa. We're going to run some tape here. There's some good stuff. There's some good stuff from these games.
Brilliant stuff.
Sharks Lions first. Whenever this comes out, so the final score was Sharks 34, Williams. Lions 26. There are a couple of interesting things in this game, including one of the largest props I have ever seen.
I love the props. Look at him running around. Thomas Dutoit. Did I say that properly?
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't, but I do like it.
That's going to stick, that one is. Some of the props and second rows running around like schoolboys is brilliant.
I think what's lovely about, because the Sharks should have beaten the Lions by more in the second half, really. But they came back nicely, the Lions. But you look, I think they're the most balanced side out of that for the Sharks. They've got a fantastic front row, a couple of ballers in the second row, Khaleesi and Noche at 8, and then their backs, you know, you've got what I like is they've got triple threat off 9 and 10. So they've got Bosch and the 9 that they run fantastic, and then you've got Fassi at the back, who's like this weird little shapeshifter. Look at that.
And Oxnish, who remember from the Cheetahs, remember?
Yeah. But then the Lions came back pretty well in the second half, actually. Some nice line breaks and offloads, and they made a good game of it.
Yeah, there was a bit coming up here where I really liked the refereeing. I stuck it out on Twitter during the game because he gave the Sharks were camped in their own 22, and he warned the captain, said, "Listen, look, there's repeat offences coming on here. I'm gonna ping you. I'm gonna give you a yellow card." He gave the yellow card. Nothing changed. So he gave them one more chance. The next penalty, there was another double penalty. So there was an advantage for the first penalty, and then they committed another penalty. And he just took the captain over and said, "I gave you the yellow card because I want to change your behaviour. If you're not changing it, I'm yellow carding you again." And he did. I like that. And some people say, "Oh, he's ruining the game because they're playing against 13." Well, no. Because, you need players to change what they're doing, and cards make them listen. So I like that.
Like you say, Andy, ruining the game is the cheating in the first place. That's Correct. What's ruining the game, not the card. It's the. No, but I really like the look of the Sharks.
Can we have a look at as I think I'm going to butcher the pronunciation in advance, right? So look at the player getting up now, Asanati Netelbank. Kanye, I'm butchering that. He is a large man, and he's young. I was looking him up background. I didn't know the background. He is not an old guy.
No, he played well last weekend too.
Oh man, he's just such power for a small guy.
I'm really excited about the South African teams in this. I must be honest.
Yeah, me too.
I really like it. I like the style of rugby they're playing.
I love it as well, man. I've enjoyed watching the two games, but I still can't wait to see him against Leinster. One of our teams, over there. Let's say a Leinster or a Munster over there, and let's see one of them come to, I don't know, Galway, Edinburgh, Scotstoun, Benetton. Where we don't quite know yet, do we? Because of COVID.
I prefer to see them all up close and personal in Africa. That would be the professional and honest journalistic experience.
I think it's the only way we could pass judgment.
It really is. Absolutely, yeah.
And we'd have to go to all four teams. We'd have to.
Otherwise we'd be accused of bias.
Golf either side.
Put the crowdfund link up.
The crowdfund link.
Right, let's bang on to the Stormers Bulls. Stormers Bulls 16-20. Bulls walked away with a win, and they were very pleased with themselves after this game. But this opening try is an absolute belter. Madash Tambwe, he scored two in this game, but this is sweet
Tambwe, finish. Right? He's unbelievable. This try is like he's a slalom skier. Look at that. He's just getting clipped. No one's taking him down.
He's
magnificent.
Glide step. Look at this. Watch it from behind now.
It's beautiful.
Look, he just knows he's going to glide. Look, it doesn't. It's not a big goose or anything like that. Thank you very much. Glide. I know.
Left Williams if it dead. No, he's really impressed actually with the whole game. It was interesting with Staines' little kicking approach. Actually, he's a bit kick heavy, but it worked.
Yeah, Morna Staines. There's rumours that he's going to be included in the.
Yeah, in or around that squad, yeah. You can see why. I think he's still mid-30s, but that's a nice step, isn't it? So it was a really good game. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a squeaker as well. Like it was nicely tight the whole way through.
It was. And you know what as well? A lot of our fans, not our fans, but our Guinness Pro 14 fans and that, will have been watching for Peter Steph do toy.
Sorry, can we just pause for a sec? Can you rewind, Adam, if you can, rewind the last try, the one right up here. Watch this. Watch what happens when the number 8 run through, right? Number 8 has the ball center screen. Watch what happens when they think the Sharks are complaining after this that he kept going through the tackle without. Just watch. It's incredible. Bang.
Oh,
two players completely take each other out. It's just classic.
He's nearly decapitated by Vermeulen there. But as I was saying, what's good is that we're getting to see lots of names that perhaps, a lot of our viewers of the Guinness Pro 14 wouldn't have known or seen much about. We're seeing guys like, Van Staden in this game was outstanding. You got those props that we mentioned in the Sharks game.
Yeah.
But then there's a load of other guys that are coming up the rails. Evan Ross in this game, the Stormers. There's Elrig Lowe. Watch out for him. He was
He played well.
number 8 for the South African under-20s. And, crikey, they got loads of talent coming through, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have.
Okay, spot quiz. How old is Mornestein?
He
34.
is 35.
He's 43.
36. He's not 43.
He's 43.
He's
He's
not
not 43. 35, I reckon.
No, he's 36.
36.
36.
Oh,
I'd actually believe 40. If someone told me he's 40, I'd say I could believe that.
Do you know what, though? The thing is, with the style he plays, he's never relied on pace.
No.
So he could play like that till he's 40.
Good. I'd love it. Some good comments coming in about the what we think that the South African sides could do. So Scott Graham asks, do you think the Sharks, Stormers, Bulls and Lions will dominate the Guinness Pro League? I hope we get to find out. There's so many unknowns right now. I'm looking forward to next season.
Yeah, me too. I think the Sharks and Bulls will be the strongest two. I think the Sharks have got that all-court game, and I think the Bulls have got the pack and a tactical kicking game. And then the other two, I think, will come slightly underneath those two. The Sharks and Bulls are the two I think will do the biggest damage.
Brendan Gleeson goes straight to Tuesday in Stoke. There'll be none of that fancy in rugby when they're playing at the sports ground in the muck.
And that's the point I wanted to make. I think it all depends on how they cope with conditions up here and the style of rugby they're up against here. I think our teams might struggle, as we can see down there.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
But then again, a Leinster on fire, going down there, a Munster on fire, a Scarlets on their day, going down there.
Connaught can ball it as well.
All of our teams, can play a bit. It's how they cope with coming up here, as we saw a bit with the Cheetahs. Cheetahs were the better of the two with the Kings, weren't they?
Yeah.
And but as they went into the next season, they sort of started to learn, how to play the conditions. So it'd be really interesting.
Do you know? And then the flip of that, you think of the Bulls coming up to say Connaught with a scrum and Mornay Stain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Very fair. Great shout here. Sorry, I had it on my notes and I skipped over. Go back at you and Davies. Speedy recovery to Ellis Jenkins after new knee injuries. Now, it's not a bad one, but when you're Ellis Jenkins, any injury is unwelcome. So it's reportedly minor. They're going to hold him out of the rest of the season, hold him out of any tour. Your next stop is recovery and pre-season. But yeah, best wishes to Ellis Jenkins.
Yeah.
We go to Holley's Heroes. I think it's about that time. Who were your big names from this round of games?
Can I just put a little request in here? I don't mind getting stick on social media, but when you lined up for it, whoever of Adam's team put this out, they put, and here's Holley's Heroes, chosen by Sean Holley this week. Would you replace anyone? Every week that goes out, right? And you've always got these funny so-and-sos who will say, yes, replace Sean Holley, right? So, I know, I'm being put out to dry here. I'm only teasing. It was really interesting doing it this week, right? What I tend to do is I watch all the games, I watch the performances, I look at the context of performance, winning sides, did they contribute to the win or were they good in defeat? I try to get a bit of a spread because there's so many teams, how do you compare apples with apples? So, look, very quickly, Nkosi just looks electric and gets a lot of meters, Keenan got 3 tries. Come on.
Yeah,
and he's been so consistent. Scannell was a thorn in the side for Ulster,
Brilliant.
He was brilliant,
And he lost at least 1.5 pints of blood.
Exactly. He looked like he'd been in a cowboy film, didn't he?
Yeah.
Jonathan Davis was just the point of difference in a pretty drab game. And in light of his non-selection, I thought, obviously Tamwe with his 2 gliding tries. JJ Hanrahan, Did really well. 4 conversions, loads of meters, beat some like 8 defenders. I give it to Ali Price because it was an attritional game that for big men, that Scottish derby, wasn't it? The 1872.
You're getting trolled by Redmond.
I did one. I slated Price for his role in defensive maul. I don't think that his role in the game is to get stuck in defensive mauls 5 meters out. So the rest of his game was pretty sharp, actually.
Do you know what I'd suggest? Since he did it twice, and he's a good, competent player, he's been selected for a Lions tour, that maybe that was his job to get in there. And that's a whole other question about coaching.
I'll ring Danny Wilson.
That's where I'm going with this. You need to get us the skinny, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the 2 Sharks props, loved them. I'm not going to try and say that I did again because I'll get into trouble. Heffernan is a good player. He's catching my eye all the time. He has massive contributions for Connacht. I really like him. Ruzza was put a real good shift in. Tyg Byrne, because why? Because he's Tyg Byrne. He put 20 tackles in. Van Staden put 22 in for the Bulls, going to the Stormers. Lokatui, well, he was in an attritional game, the point of difference, and we talked about Halafifi. Look, the trouble is when you do these, boys, is that we're all coaches. When we read that, why didn't he get in? Why didn't he get in? And these supporters, they wear their heart on their sleeves. Why isn't Mornay staying in a 10? Well, because JJ Hanrahan played pretty well, So you can't win. You can't win. I know how Warren Gatland feels.
And don't forget that there are
anyone who gives the podcast grief now, we should call them doutoirs.
Yeah.
But as you said it earlier, so what a doutoir.
Yeah. Doutoir. Is it doutoir?
Detroit
and Inche are our 2 props in this. Ox and Che. Let's keep going. We're looking look ahead to next week and get your own 15s in ahead of the release of Holley's Heroes next week, and we'll see how much similarity there is. Friday, May 14th. Munster Connacht at my lovely kickoff time of 6 p.m. on a Friday night. Love that. Leinster Ulster, 8:15 p.m. That's both of those on Friday. Saturday, the Emirates Lions against the DHL Stormers. That's 4 p.m. local, which I think is 3 p.m. UK. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, please. Vodacom Bulls and the Chelsea Sharks. That's at Loftus Versfeld. That's 6:15 p.m. local. And up north, we have Scarlets against the Cardiff Rugby Blues, just 3 p.m. Benetton against Zebre, that's 5:15 UK, 6:15 p.m. local. And Edinburgh against Glasgow, BT Murrayfield, 7:35. I think after that, that is going to be tasty. Yeah. Just watching my Price's defensive position will be, player count. Sunday, May 16th, Dragons Ospreys, 1 p.m. lunchtime rugby, just to round it off. We move on. Oh yeah, hold on. Who's looking most forward to seeing Dylan? Diolande is our big favourite. Who's most looking forward to seeing him?
Me.
Razi Erasmus.
Yeah, Razi. He had a little pop this weekend. Did you see what he said today? No. Somebody had written something about the box being just lucky to win the World Cup and being one of 6 teams that could have won it. And Razi Erasmus replied directly to the journalist and said, a lion doesn't worry himself with the thought of rabbits or something like that.
Thought the thoughts of the sheep.
That's
I was talking
the thought of the sheep.
A little bit of insight. I was talking to Bob Skinstad on Saturday and just asked him politely, about the squad and this, that, and the other. And he said, I said, asked about the Springboks, would it affect them not having played? And he said, knowing Razi as I do, they'll be 100% meticulously prepared and ready to go. They've been having camps, and they're having camps for the Europe-based Springboks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. That's interesting. So they're having little hubs on the continent.
And then the Georgians get to face them. Lucky them. That's my segue into our next little bit, which is looking forward to the summer. because today, we're recording this on Monday evening, the summer tours, all that schedule was announced. Now, preface this. There were a couple of things that fell through. Hold on. Swaino's in. Andrew Swain. I'm getting in late here, fellas, but checking you saw the end of the Super Rugby AU final on the weekend. 42,000 fans going nuts at Suncorp. Okay, we'll do this now. Yeah, we saw it. Oh my God, it was like the final was brilliant. I only watched the last 30 seconds, Swaino, but it was very good.
Reds won.
Please tell me, Sweeney, that you had a couple of schooners, a schooner and new. Yeah, he'll come back now. Well, good luck. Well done to you. 42,000. Yeah, we can only but dream of that, boys.
I know.
We can only but dream.
They were going absolutely ballistic. It was such a tight finish. I said, I wish I'd watched the whole thing, but I couldn't. I watched the Super Rugby Aotearoa final. That was very good.
Yeah, it was pretty good, wasn't it? Chiefs give it a good dig, didn't they?
Yeah.
Chiefs gave it a run. The Crusaders are very, very good at rugby. And every time I watch David Havili play, I'm like, he is.
But you know, the thing is, what's interesting is that Lomape is signed today for Stade Francais. So you wonder if there were little changes coming up there in the midfield with the All Blacks.
Who signed?
Lomape signed for Stade Francais.
Lomape.
Yeah. So you wonder if Havili's been given a little bit of a nod.
Yeah.
Well, he's just everything that man does is just he's absolutely class. Calix, question. When the fact that this question is being put in right now makes me think that there's an answer coming. When do we find out the fixtures for Rainbow Cup round 4, 5, and 6? And I see answer is tomorrow. They'll be out after lunch.
There we go.
Tuesday lunchtime. There you go.
I nearly got the sack then.
Don't reveal anything. I know nothing. You know more than me at this stage.
Nearly got the sack then.
Let's go back to where we were. So CGM 55, South Africa have lined up a game against Georgia. Yes, because a lot of things went. I'm
not answering that.
No, we're not. I'm not in.
JJ, that's a good one.
South Africa's European camp must have been in sale, says Jonathan Johns. Well played.
Right.
Well played. So South Africa have lined up 2 tests against Georgia as prep for the Lions. That's the weekend of July 2nd, 3rd, and 9th, 10th. The 2 tours cancelled this summer. Ireland's tour to Fiji, cancelled because of COVID, and Italy's tour to New Zealand, cancelled because of COVID. So our schedule now looks like, you can stick it up on the Twitter later, but to zip through, folks, July is going to be a lot of rugby, and specifically July 10th. Just circle that date in the calendar because I'm going to skip straight to this. July 10th, South Africa play Georgia. We have the Sharks playing against the British and Irish Lions. Ireland play against USA. England, Canada. Romania, Scotland. Wales, Argentina. New Zealand, Fiji. And Samoa, Tonga in the first leg of their Rugby World Cup qualifier, which could be tasty.
I'll have to have a vitamin D jab that weekend. I probably won't go out.
Twitter is not big enough for this schedule, says producer Adam. We'll need a bigger Twitter. Yes, you do. It's just, it's when you look ahead to this after so much disruption during the year, I hope all these games happen, but it's great to see them slot in the schedule, Paul.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that is what my Sky planner looks forward to every year. That day, it gets to put in a full stint. It'll, like you say, that'll be a ridiculous day, and I will watch them all, even if I'm sick of myself.
To somebody who asked me on Twitter, where's Lions versus Lions? There is a rumor that one of the warm-up games will be switched to feature the Lions.
I saw that,
which would be hilarious and good.
Yeah, cannibalism. That's what they'll call it.
Lions against the Lions.
Yeah, it'll be great. I love that. So there's loads of rugby on. And when you look ahead, we've got a great summer because we'll go through the Rainbow Cup. Lions will kick off their tour against Japan up in Murrayfield. We then get July 3rd is kind of the start of things. Then it's like bang, July Australia, France are even giving us a midweek game.
I know.
They're giving us midweek games just to keep it ticking along. It's fantastic. I'm loving how this is. So basically, all the way through from July 3rd until August 7th, we have games 2 nights a week of rugby. It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
That is great. Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah. And it's good for the coffers too. I know everyone complains when we talk about money in rugby. Pro rugby is about money, and they need to get playing. So let's get it going.
Let's get him in. Let's zip through some signings here. Lamapi to Stad, we've talked about. That is like he's a wrecking ball. Fantastic player.
Brilliant player.
Yeah. Quinn Rue, you served Connacht well, but we now know you're leaving. Rumor. Irish Examiner's John Fallon says the rumor is Toulon.
Really?
Quinn Rue would do well in France.
Yeah, he will. He's perfect, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a
he would actually.
He's a very top 14 signing, actually.
But let's face it, right? If Paul Williams went down to Toulon, he'd do all right amongst that lot, wouldn't he?
I could do a job. I am going to be the world's first ever lock fullback hybrid. So I can do a job in the row or just hiding at the back.
I just imagine you walking into the post-match function in that red jacket,
exactly,
cravat.
I'd have a load handmade and in loads of different colours.
Dyed beard.
So in good news for Leinster and Ireland, Tadhg Furlong, who was a conspicuous absentee from a previous list of extensions by Leinster, one more year before some. You know where I'm going with this. You go, Paul.
It's a good move, though. I'd do exactly the same thing if I was Tadhg Furlong.
Yeah, and what's going to happen in 1 year?
Well, then he'll try and get another big 4 year or a big 3, try and get to the next World Cup, or maybe go somewhere for a massive, ridiculous payday, like £1 million a year in the top 14. And I'm not even joking. 750, 800 grand, big, proper, one of the top 10 earners in the league.
And he's just about to
props are worth a lot of money.
Tight head props are worth 25%, I'd say, on top of the bet. If you've got an outside
the proverbial rocking horse manure.
Yeah, he'd be big money.
But he's showcasing himself in the biggest event in the rugby calendar for 4 years. In South Africa, he's showcasing himself there, so it's quite a shrewd move by his agent.
Oh, absolutely.
Kieran O'Callaghan, the free-to-air TV deals done today for the coverage of the Irish international side. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the next ones drip out. So you can see both sides of this when there's money on the table. We need a thing. Ewan Davies buzzing for Collins in the Pro 14/16.
Yeah, that'd be a good move. Rumored to be the Ospreys, isn't it?
It is.
So, and he had a nice little stint when he came over last time.
Williams, we just don't say anything right now and look expectantly at Holley.
Holley, come on, let's have it. He knows everything. He is the
rumored to be the Ospreys, probably the favoured region by him.
Leave it at that.
I'm just going to go dead air for a while and see what else we can get.
Squeeze him dry.
Well done, Crusaders. We talked about that very briefly. Mike Brown, you were a naughty boy, but anyone who wants to go and see the clip, go and have a look at that yourselves. It was his own little personal tribute to the retiring Johan Uge, which is very personal.
Any mitigation? I'll ask a question.
It'll be interesting to. Do you know what? In fairness to the Premiership are very good at publishing their disciplinary decisions. The full whole text and stuff. I think, unless I'm mixing that up, I'm pretty sure they are.
Do you know? All I will say on that incident, right? And my house will probably be burnt down now. But something was obviously happening there because he initially used his knee to try and get out of, for whatever reason, he was being held, and then he tried to use his foot. And obviously you shouldn't stamp on someone's face. But I imagine, is there another camera angle from the other side where he's being held in? Because you quite often see people try and walk their way out of being held in. I'm not saying that is what he did. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate, because Mike Brown can be one of those personalities who splits opinion on one side only.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna ask questions. I'll ask Andy a question. Because
you're trying to get me in a load of trouble.
No,
I promised I'd be good.
Get in trouble in seconds.
I could be on dangerous ground. So here's one for you, Andy. Knowing, I refer to Williams's comment about Brown's personality and past history. So you're on that panel that you mentioned, the disciplinary panel that gets published, and you see this, and you have an instinct about Brown's, not personality, but character.
Yeah.
Does that sway you in the decision?
No, because if you're the people that would be in that room on the panel, the way they approach it is like real courtroom stuff. And the way where that would play in is if they were looking to, for those who aren't familiar with how the disciplinary process works, the way when you have things that are mitigation, it only comes in at a certain point, and it's kind of after the decision's been made. So I would think that anything in terms of, if you did have a view of the player's character, it would only come in at that point, where saying, can we sort of give X% off because he has a very good record, or you actually say, no, we throw all of the books at him because he has a record.
Look at that. That's just what you need from your producer, isn't it?
Do you see how careful I was not to get myself in massive trouble right there?
Yeah,
because really well.
Because it's difficult, right? Because I think he's got a pretty decent disciplinary record.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Oh, in terms of carrots, so does Owen Farrell.
Yeah. But then sometimes he can be a little bit awkward in post-match interviews. So
there we go.
There you go. There's Holley. Look, apparently it's his first ever red. So, you can be swayed sometimes by public opinion, or like he hasn't done himself any favors with some of the interviews and comments that he makes, but it doesn't make him a dirty player.
No,
for me, having played the game, you got a fair idea where the player is, even though it might have been a bit of argy-bargy, and that's a red.
Yeah.
Definitely a red. Jared Fitzpatrick, anyone who played knows what the opponent is, even if Brown is stamped in hand, but head, he could have blinded him. Look, folks, go watch the incident on your own. We'll see. It's part of this is a shame, because it's a player who is retiring. He's given a huge amount of service to Harlequins. It's his own fault, but it will be a shame if that's his last act for the club. And I will say that no matter what you might feel about him, or if you're a fan or not. Yes, Jonathan Jones, so does Owen Farrell. Shots fired indeed. That was my naughtiest bit of this evening.
Yeah, tonight's prize for wittiest comments already go to Jonathan Jones. Two crackers from him tonight.
Yeah, he's on fire. He's come in. He's throwing heat tonight. I will say there was a really nice moment, which was he isn't retiring. He's going to Newcastle. Yeah, that's fair enough. Sorry, I misspoke. Carl Sinclair's reaction after.
Jesus Christ, Holley's on with tonight. We'll have the Gapka petrol bombs coming in next week.
Carl Sinclair's reaction after getting named man of the match, his interview, which was very raw, very honest, and it was disappointing to see a couple of headlines that instantly said, it's angry Kyle and I'm so angry, things like that. It was just unfortunate because it lost a lot of the nuance around what he was trying to say. I thought, because it was, again, it is one, if you haven't seen it, go look at the BT Sport account or look on Reddit or whatever. Everyone's running it. But Paul, he was very, very open about how he was feeling and how he was trying to process it, which I was like, fair play to him.
And it makes you realize that just people like you and I that get really upset, they might look like monsters who don't mind it in 52 rucks in 3 seconds, but they get really torn up with stuff, and the same with Hugo Monnier. Watching him, I imagine they've been pretty friendly when they were Quins. And it was quite upsetting, actually. I haven't seen a player react to something like that, I don't think, ever in that sort of way. And it was disappointing to see the way it was reported, because the line they used, yes, he did say that there was a bit of anger there, but that wasn't the tone of the interview at all. It was quite the opposite. So
absolutely. It was a
yeah.
self-reflecting interview about how he was processing this personally, and how he was trying to work it through. And just that one line taken out of context, it wasn't the tone. You've nailed it, bang on.
No. And the other thing, sorry, Sean, go on.
Go on, mate. Go on.
No, all I was going to say is, and doing things like that is why we end up with really banal interviews from players, just saying things 1 match at a time next time.
That's my point, mate.
Just don't ask them questions then if you're going to mug them off.
Exactly, that's my point. So one, you can understand some of the banal interviews it's like Alan Wynne-Jones. He doesn't want to give anything away. He gets asked stupid questions. So therefore, he's just going to go down the line, down the barrel. However, as viewers and rugby people, we want to see the human element of it.
Yeah.
If you just react to what you see on the field, like Kyle Sinclair sometimes disagrees with the ref, this, that, and the other, so you might get an opinion about that. Ellis Genge is another one, right?
Yeah.
I've coached Ellis. Ellis is a real sincere individual who goes out of his way to do things for other people and kids, right? All right, he can be a hothead. Yes, he can. Kyle Sinclair, the same. Adam Jones tells me he's the most diligent professional, right? Has designed and ordered his own gym, his own trainer, his own diet. He's a consummate professional, works hard at his game. So to that end, this would have been his world, right? Yeah. And his individual performances have been okay, right? They haven't been disastrous, have they? But England's sort of demise in the Six Nations probably wouldn't have contributed in his favour. But I felt, I've seen in the past players behind closed doors open up like that. So to see him go publicly naturally, and I want to add here that in light of the old Sonia McLaughlin thing, I thought Sarah Elgin handled that superbly.
Yeah, she did.
He showed empathy and asked the right questions, and that's why he opened up, because of her and her openness. So I thought that was brilliant.
Rugby Scribbler says, so important to see Sinclair open up like that. Healthy to see such emotion, and it's praised. I think that's fair.
Yes.
That was good. So look, we said it was technically last week, but it was only a few days ago because we did our last show on Thursday. I think he's going to be out fairly soon. Rugby players get injured, and he's a very talented one. Or else he'll convert to hooker, because apparently that's all you need to do to be selected as an Englishman to get in the Lions tour. That's what you do. We have something else before we wrap up. I need to introduce post-pod analysis.
Jesus, what's this?
I don't know.
All right. Well, we all know it
won't work.
The Allen Day.
This will not work in any way if you're not watching this, but this image of Holley versus Williams and the two Spider-Men will go out on the Twitter account, and somehow it will work.
To be fair, it's mostly my fault because I get it wrong and then blame Holley. Yeah. But I think that's how it should be. He's got all the silverware.
Exactly. All the trophies. All the trophies.
Easy come, easy go.
Friendly banter, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Folks, I think that is it for this fine evening, where we are now halfway through the pool section of the Rainbow Cup. We've got fixtures to come. Thank you, Paul Williams. Thank you, Sean Holley. Thank you, Adam Redmond, and thank you everybody else who's given us some of your time, whether watching live with us tonight and firing in loads of comments again. Thank you. And by the way, kudos to everyone who was in the show for the Lions selection. It was really, really good fun, and the comments and questions and everything were a huge part of that. So thank you so much. It was really good. But yeah, that was Under the Sticks, brought to you by Pro 14 Rugby. Thanks to Adam in the background, pulling the strings as always. My name's Andy McGeady. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. They call me cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. Ooh, cheetah, cheetah, cheetah.